Hello gamers, Pet here. Welcome to a new video in this series called, I'm not sure how to call them, I just been calling them these videos, like shit I owned or stuff I know, depends on if I want to be positive or negative. But some of you might know that my main passion is looking at stuff on the internet, stuff that seem cool. I buy them and then I get bored with them pretty fast and then I move on to the next thing. Second, for years I've been trying to look for different type of hobbies that will allow me to do stuff at the desk and not at the PC, right? So this is why I've been drawing, sometimes doing miniatures, painting and whatever, and writing. And for years I've kind of been fascinated by this box. Let's start from that. No, I'm not fascinated by electronics, but I'm fascinated by this type of box. Look how pretty this box is. And when you open it, you have a lot of small stuff inside. How can you not like this, right? So I've been looking at this box with it's an Arduino Starter Kit. Let's put it like that. It's a pretty complete starter kit. Normally the price is $70. I paid for it something like $50 including shipping because it was a sale. Amazon knew that I have this in cart, so they decided to mess with me. So I finally bought it and I do want to try something new. For the next 2-3 months or whatever, I want to give this a try. I want to go over all the sensors of the stuff and see how they work and maybe try to do a cool project later. But what is this exactly? Arduino is basically this board. It's an Arduino Mega. It's a little bit bigger and a little bit better than the normal Arduino Unos, which are smaller. It's a microcontroller, right? And it's different than Raspberry Pis. Some people know about Raspberry Pis, but then they kind of confuse them. Raspberry Pi is kind of like a mini computer. You need an operating system for it to run. It has HDMI cable, it has Wi-Fi capabilities because again it's supposed to be kind of like a small computer, while an Arduino is kind of like a microcontroller. You program it to do stuff, you connect the stuff, not like this, but this is just meant for testing, right? And then the code, because it's very fast, because it's a microcontroller, it doesn't have an operating system that has to boot up, you can make it do stuff. And in this particular case, what I made it, I have a temperature and humidifier sensor, this one. I also have an LCD screen, this one. And then I have this LED, which is just a green LED that is just on to show me that it's on for the fun of it. And this is an RGB LED, which again, it's RGB, so I can make it any color I want. It's a little bit different than this one. This is why I'm using it, because I want to experiment with different kind of stuff. In this box, you can see there are plenty of sensors, transistors, and whatnot. This is a dot matrix display, right? This is kind of like this is a 4-digit 7-segment display, right? I'm looking basically over here to see. This is exactly what's inside this box. This is kind of like a PS controller. And then you have this is a motion sensor. This is a sensor that sees, the distance. It measures the distance. And there are, in this kit, I only have this sensor, but in the real life world, there are various type of sensors. There is a sensor that measures distance using lasers and whatnot. And as you might have figured out, it's a really, you really go down the rabbit hole if you are really into this kind of stuff, because there are really a lot of stuff to experiment, different type of sensors. It's a different type of things that you can build up. And this is why I kind of want to give this a try, because it's fun and I think it's a useful skill to see how things go up and then how they run, and understand stuff at the electronics level. And now it depends on the stuff that you want to do. This was pretty easy to do. Of course, there are plenty of tutorials online, and the first thing I've done was to connect the sensor and only display the temperature and the humidity on the computer, right? On the serial monitor. Then I was like, let's experiment with the LED. Let's see how the LED works. And then I looked, and of course the LED has multiple pins. One is the ground, one is the power, one is the... if I disconnect this white one, the display shut down. I mean the text, right? If I disconnect, which I'm not going to, there is a resistor there. The text will remain, but the backlight is going to be off because that's the pin that controls the backlight. and of course those are the data pins and so on, right? So I've started to look into LCD screens, liquid crystal screens, and they are very interesting. But then I also saw that there are very different type of displays that you can use. Some you have a bigger resolution, some have use e-paper as display, you know, like the Kindle does, which of course are very low power, and so on and so on. Then I decided to connect the sensor to make it display on the screen. Then I've experimented with the LEDs to see how it is to turn them on and off, and it's really not that hard. But actually, before the LEDs, I have this potentiometer, which I connected to the LCD, and if I turn it like this, I can control the brightness of the text. And that was fun, but the potentiometer is kind of crap and it doesn't really stick in like it should. And I was like, yeah, screw it, I'm just going to make space for other stuff. Right now, since I'm not using it, it goes through this resistor, so it's just full on power mode at 100% contrast or whatever it's called. So yeah, and just right now I experimented with this RGB LED. So let me see what I can show you. I made it. Let me actually show you the code. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm mainly doing this video for me, so I can reference it later when I forget what I've done. But if you look over here, I'm importing two libraries. One, this controls the sensor. This controls the LCD screen. LCD settings, where every pin is where you tell it where you connected it to what. Then I have the power LED, the green one. This is the sensor pin, and then this is the RGB pins. Then I set those RGB pins to output, so Arduino knows that the pin supposed to output and not input, right? So that's why the LEDs are so bright. Then this is the LCD. I'm doing a loop where I'm also initiating the LCD here. It's 16 characters with two lines. And this is where I'm setting the cursor at the beginning, and I'm writing temp, and then I'm writing DHT temperature, and then I'm putting that small dot from Celsius before. And then I go to the second line. This is the second line where I'm writing humidity, and then I'm outputting humidity, and so on. Then I'm setting the green LED to high for the fun of it, and I could have done maybe an else if over here, but I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not sure how the syntax is in Arduino, and I'm just going to do it like this since I have control over it. If the humidity is below or equal to 35, I'm going to turn it to red. As you can see, it's red right now. If it's between if it's above 36, it's supposed to be 36 or equal, or maybe like this. Let's actually also upload the code so you can see how it is. And the code is now up. And if the humidity is between 35 and 55, it's going to be yellow. And if it's above 55, it's going to be green. And then I'm delaying everything. This code will just loop endlessly. I'm delaying for 2 seconds because the DHT, the DHT sensor, the temperature sensor, needs some time to catch up. And then I also wrote over here, well, I found it on the internet, but I wrote it myself. I didn't copy paste it. It's a function called RGB color where you are setting up the values like this, so you can reuse the whole code and whatnot. So I'm going to touch the sensor and the humidity will rise, and you will see how this is going to be yellow and then green. It's going to be a little bit confusing because you see it's already yellow. And let's make it blue. Come on, you see it's green. Pardon, make it green, not blue. And now it's going to go down. It's yellow again. And now it's going to be red soon. Come on, come on. One thing that you might notice is that the humidity is pretty low in my room. It usually stands between 27 and 30 something. It's a bit cold outside, and this is why it's like this. And I actually ordered the purifier and the humidifier, and I'm a bit excited about it because for years I have been suffering with this low humidity. So yeah, this is what I've been having fun with. We also have this rotary rotary something. What's the full name? It is the potentiometer. I forgot the name. For some time I thought that this was the potentiometer, but it was more confusing because it has more pins. And then I found out that this is actually something else because it behaved differently. You also have this radio wave, and you are using the card, you know, like you do when you open doors, and you go like beep, and then it opens. It does whatever you want it to do. This is it measures the water levels. And there are a lot of stuff for here to play out. One thing that I want to try out is one of those. It's a 3V motor that's going to spin this, probably this one, I think. Yeah, this is the one. And I want to turn on and play with motors. And one thing, you know, if you have ideas with what to build, what will be useful for you to build? Write in the comments, because I'm looking for ideas, because again the possibilities are endless, but when the possibilities are endless you are kind of getting clueless, like, yeah, but what? I need someone to tell me what to do because I cannot think for myself. However, I did thought of something that seemed a bit cool. I want to put something inside my mailbox, and when that something, you know, the mechanism detects that something is inside my mailbox, I want it to tell me that, either by Wi-Fi, but it's going to be a bit hard, or maybe by sending me a text message, but that's pretty complex. The first step will of course be to make something that detects when it comes inside the mailbox, right? And then you can, you know, baby steps. But now I actually have a purpose, because if I want to do that, I will have to work with smaller Arduinos, because you don't want to put it like that. I will buy how the hell do you call it in English? That thing you glue wires together on the circuit board or whatever. That gets pretty hot. A pistol of anyway. And then I will have to see how it is to work with a battery, because I want to, you know, to power it by itself, you know, with a battery and not an actual plug. But then of course I will have to check the output, so I can't use this. I mean, I don't need to use this because I don't need to see a display, but you know, you get what I say. I need something that doesn't use too much power, because I want the battery to not drain fast. And now that I have a purpose, my next steps will be to actually look how it is to connect batteries to an Arduino and make it run out of, right now it's running out of USB and it's getting power from the computer, right? And yeah, this is basically what I'm playing with. One thing that I find really annoying is the resistors. I mean, they have kind of like colors, and you can figure out, I mean, right now I can look at this, and this is 220 ohms, but I don't know the colors, what they mean. But what's very annoying is that this is a bit flimsy, and whenever I'm trying to plug in resistors over there, they kind of get in like that, and it's a bit annoying, but whatever. So yeah, what have you been, you know, doing? Any suggestion on what to do and what to explore? Write in the comments below. So see you later, guys, in, you know, maybe another episode on shit I own. Like, maybe I'm going to make a video about my watches. I only have like 2, and hey, this was a video or whatever, I don't know. Bye guys, see you soon.